And turning to Northwest news, the governor wants background checks for all people buying guns and says he's disappointed the bill has stalled. Governor Jay Inslee says he'll continue making phone calls to put pressure on lawmakers on the issue. After the issue locked up the House yesterday, the bill ultimately was not brought out for a vote, and its sponsors conceded they could not get majority support for the measure, even with a proposed referendum clause that would have allowed the public to vote on the measure. Inslee told TVW during an interview today he continues to believe this is an important thing for safety in our state. Gun buyers currently must undergo a background check when they purchase a weapon from a federally licensed firearms dealer. The bill would have extended such reviews to cover private gun transactions. As the national debate about gun control continues, we look at one Georgia city's idea to fight crime.
If you didn't know it was there, you would pass right by the tiny town of Nelson, Georgia. It sits at the edge of the Blue Ridge Mountains, where cows graze and the occasional Confederate flag waves.
You know, I wouldn't mind talking to them.
There is one police officer, one police car, and crime is almost zero.
We have a burglary every now and then.
And yet the city council is getting ready to pass a law which will require the head of each household for the nearly 1,400 residents to own a gun.
It's telling the world that, hey, you know, we're going to stand up and defend our Second Amendment rights.
Since the massacre in Newtown, Connecticut, some communities around the country have been proposing laws to require or recommend their residents arm themselves. Many say they fear an impending restriction on Second Amendment rights.
We're bringing that out. It's rights that everybody has, but now we're making a statement showing that, hey, you know, that's the Constitution. We got a right to bear arms, and we're going to do it.
This is a device meant to kill people.
Nelson resident Lamar Kellett actually owns a gun and thinks the Second Amendment should be upheld. But
this is appalling that the city would come up with a sham ordinance like this just to get publicity. I would say of the people I've talked to, not one has been in favor of the ordinance.
It's all good. Nothing bad can come out of this. It's just good. It's all positive that we're doing this.
The final vote is April 1st, and officials in Nelson admit there is not a chance they will enforce this law.
No, sir, not really. Pretty much people have the option.
If they're going to say this one's not going to be enforced, which other ordinances are not going to be enforced?
This trend seems to be about making a statement. And for lawmakers in the town of Nelson, they want the federal government to know that no one can take their guns. Robert Ray, Associated Press, Nelson, Georgia.
At least one town in Washington has a similar ordinance, and that's Riverside in Okanogan County, just north of Omak. American oil will soon be shipped overseas through a planned port in Hoquiam. Plans to export crude oil from the northern plains through a terminal on the Washington coast are advancing. U.S. Development says it's applying for permits to build 6 to 8 storage tanks. Business Development Manager Kevin LeBourne told KBKW Radio it plans to invest more than $60 million at the site and hopes to be operating in early 2015. The tank farm would employ 30 to 50 workers, loading crude oil onto tankers. The oil would arrive on trains every other day. Westway Terminals at Hoquiam also plans to export oil. Trains already are delivering oil from Montana and North Dakota to U.S. Oil Refinery in Tacoma and the Tesoro Refinery near Anacortes. BP plans to build a rail yard at its Cherry Point Refinery north of Bellingham. A man sought after by the King County Sheriff's Office for the murder of his grandparents was caught in Oregon last night. Here with the story is the Associated Press.
The man suspected of killing his grandparents at their home in Washington state after he was released from prison has been captured in neighboring Oregon. Michael Boyson was captured Tuesday evening at this motel in Lincoln City on the Oregon coast after police stormed his room. A clerk at the motel contacted authorities after seeing Boyson's face on television, and police spent much of the day trying to persuade him to surrender. The ex-con was the focus of a multi-state manhunt after the bodies of his grandparents were found Saturday in their home near Seattle. Police say Boyson had just been released from prison and had received a welcome home party. Ross Simpson, The Associated Press.
That's going to do it for us here at iFIBER 1 News. We want to thank you for watching, and we'll see you again tomorrow night.